Top 1 ladies, my name is Chaz, and welcome to the What If Zuko Was? Or no, actually not What If Zuko. The custom card review. So in this is custom card review, I am going to go over the updated version of anti-soul cards. Earns. So the anti-soul archetype is basically a how will I put this? It rivals the Seal of Alcalcos from the anime, where in the anime, when the loser loses a duel, when Seal is activated, your soul is now trapped in Seal of Alcalcos. But this is the anti-soul, so each one of these cards are modeled after every book character from my new story that I'll probably get to, at the end. It's like Undertales, but did it with an adult version. So let's start with the monsters, spells, then traps. So the monsters in this archetype is that has two of them have you can select from your opponent's deck. That's what you have to pay the cost to select one card from. So it depends on the user. Shush. Sorry. Okay. So I said, and I wasn't cussing. It's just So Anti-Soul Catcher is a dark level 4 fiend effect monster with attack of 1,000 and defense is 600. If this card is normal or special summon, you can select one card from your opponent's deck or hand, send it to the graveyard. If it does, then this card gains that selected card's effects. Hex. If this card, this archetype, some of them have if this card inflicts damage, you can do the corresponding effects. Depends on. For this one, is that if this card inflicts damage to your opponent's life points, you pay 1,000 life points, make this card attack again. And if it does, then this card gains 1,000 attack points for each time this card attacks. So basically, once you attack, I'm going to attack you right here, right now. Bam! Now I'm going to attack you again. But first I had to, cut the limb off. Bam! Now I regenerate a new limb. Yeah. Now it has once per turns during either player's draw phase, Return one anti-soul card from your graveyard or hand or battlefield into the deck. Inflict 500 damage to your opponent's life points for each level this card has. 5, 10, 15, 20. 20 or 2,000 points of damage per turn. And some of these cards, you can like inflict damage to your opponents. Like the main focus is to get your opponent lower life points, and you activate like the chain energy one, the spell card, the continuous spell. Oh. And yeah, and this one has the, if you do, then skip your opponent's main phase. 1. So basically, during your turn, you activate this, then your opponent goes, they go right into the battle, then main phase 2, then they do all that stuff. If this card is sent to the grave, you can shuffle this card into the deck instead, and you can special summon one anti-soul monster from anywhere except this card to your field in attack mode. But its attack points become double the attack points. They have the ways to bring out monsters quick enough. And like make double their attack points. Like this one allows you to basically, once it's sent to the grave, like, let me check. Plus, I don't know. There's a card, this one, that I was trying to look up. Because it says if this card is sent to the grave. Does that mean it has to like go to the grave by like a card effect and or by battle? That's what. Yeah, because if it's true, I probably made him the broken one to be like special summons like this one, then its effect goes off. But instead of this card gaining the selected cards earns effects, this card inflicts damage to your opponent's life points. It's basically like saying, hey, I'm going to take your dynamite, send it to the grave, now I'm going to stab you. Huh. Yeah. And then once per turn if your opponent declares attack or activates any card effects, you can pay 1,000 life points to negate it, and then shuffle it into the owner's deck. If you do, both players draw 2 cards from the top of their decks to their hand. Then if this card is sent to the grave or battlefield, you shuffle this card into the deck instead of it. Special summon 2 monsters from anywhere except this card to your field in attack mode. If you do, inflict 300 damage to your opponent's life points. Yeah. So it's basically like, oh, I'm gonna inflict. Basically, this card, if you really think about it, you basically lower your opponent's life points. Like this one deals 5,000 in damage to your opponent's life points compared to this one, because that's 200. That makes it sound or 7,000 for both cards to work together. Yeah. Then, because if you activate its first effect, and you can use once per turns on it, you can pay 1,000 life points and negate cards. Yeah. And now we're on the Harn effect. If this card, or this is anti-soul survivor girl. She's a dark level 4 warrior effect monster. It's pretty good with reunion or whatever that spell card is. This one, Hun. You can bring her out with this one, or like add her to the hand. But if you had like him on the field, you can summon him and then summon that girl. No, but her effect goes off too. Of special summons, like select one and from her, or from anywhere except this card, special summon it to your field in attack mode. But its attack points become doubled. So basically, if you had him on the field, you double his attack. That makes it 26 instead of 2,600. So yeah, then you can also, like, you can special summon her, but we'll get into that later. And this card gains 1,000 attack for each of its cards from its own archetype that's on the field. If this card inflicts damage to your opponent's life points, you can select one card from your opponent's deck, send it to the grave. If you do, then this card gains or attacks again. If this card is sent to the grave, you can, or battle zone, you can select one spell/trap card. Yeah. Shuffle it into the deck. And then spell summon this card. Earn to your field in attack mode, but its attack points become double the attack points. Yeah, some of these cards have this card urge effects cannot be negated by card effects or can't be chained by card effects, and you take no damage. Yeah, so now I'll save a big boss monster for later. Oh, my neck. Oh, sorry. So, this is Anti-Soul Twin Girls. They are dark, level 4, warrior effect monsters. So, basically, Miranda Captain can special summon it. And their effects is basically a coin toss. If you get heads, both players draw cards equal to this card's level. Tails, you mill 4 cards. Basically, like for each card for each level this card has. And if this card inflicts battle damage, you can pay 1,000 life points. Makes this card attack again. If it does, then you draw 2 cards from the top of your deck. Basically, like you're giving those 2 girls like 2 extra knives to straight up attack your enemy again. And yeah. But in return, they give you 2 draws. Yeah, then this card is shuffled into the deck. Special summon 2 monsters, except for this. Now 2 pendulum monsters turns. Energy Soul 0. It's an Earth level 4 Beast Warrior pendulum effect. So his pendulum effect is all monsters' effects cannot be negated by card effects and can't be chained by card effects. Once per turn during your main phase 1, you can shuffle 1 card from your graveyard or banish zone into the deck. Draw 2 cards from the top of your deck. If it does, then inflict 200 damage to your opponent's life points. Then once it's normal summon or special summon, it can select 2 cards from then compared to the first one that I showed you, this one, this only allows you to choose 1. This one allows you to pick 2. And then it also gains their combined effect. Basically, you can send... I'm trying to think. Sorry about that interruption. Basically, the Zuku, or no, basically this one gained the combined effects, and it has a lot to read, so it basically is like, I'm in the pendulum zone. It's basically like saying, I'm in the pendulum zone. Now, I'm gonna let you shuffle 1 card from the gray deck or graveyard to your hand, or to the deck. And then now you draw 2 cards. Ooh. Inflict damage. Well, bam! It's like you stubbing your toe on the side of a wall. And then this one is the opposite. Basically, once per turn during your opponent's main phase 1, if they activate any card effects or summons anything, must discard 2 cards from their deck to the graveyard before they activate any card effects or summon any monsters. But if they do not discard cards, then negate that card effect or that card's effects or summons instead. If it does, then you gain 2,000 life points. So basically, this one inflicts damage to your opponent, but it also gives you, like, draw 2 cards every turn. Yeah. This one allows you to basically, like, oh, I'm not gonna discard 2 cards from my... Yeah. So then now we're on to a big boss monster of the archetype. This is Anti-Soul Dragon. The It's a dark, level 4, or no, doesn't have a level, rank 4 dragon. It takes 3 of these level 4 monsters. That's why they're all level 4s. And if this card is XYZ summoned, you can spell summon this card. Or if this card is special summoned, turn. Yeah, so you can detach one card, destroy the entire field of your opponent's field to the graveyard, but their effects are negated until the end of this turn. If this card, if it does, skip your opponent's battle phase. If this card inflicts damage to your opponent's life points, you can detach one X-Ray Z material from this card, make this card attack again, and if it does, then you can attach one card from either player's graveyards or battlestones to this card and treat it as a XYZ material. If this card is sent to the grave, you can shovel this card into the extra deck. Special summon all the XYZ materials from anywhere to your field in attack mode. But their attack points become double the attack points. If this card, if it does, then this card or inflicts damage to your opponent's life points. 1,000 points of damage to your opponent's life points for each monster from the field by this effect. So, yeah, and plus you don't take damage. So, yeah, so the monsters are pretty, like, splashable in other decks, but their main purpose is to summon each other's out faster to go into this one. Plus, with the coin toss, allows you to basically get head or tails. Me, sometimes I get heads. Most of the time I get tails. Yeah, then I get, yeah. So, then we get the spell cards. Anti-Soul Graveyard. It's a field spell, and it supports the archetype really well, because this card makes them gain 500 life or attack points / defense points for each draw, or for each card from both players' graveyards and battlestones. Once per turn during either player's battle phase, you can shuffle one card from your opponent's or from your graveyard or battlestone to the deck. Negate any attack except the anti-soul monsters. If this card is sent to the grave, you can shovel this card into the deck instead. But for the rest of the duel, your opponent must draw from the graveyard instead of their deck. Because I kind of added this effect because this card is way too broken with that, like say if your opponent has like Jar of Greed or like something counteracts the graveyards. Yeah. Then if it does, then you can inflict damage to your opponent's life points. So then, yeah. Anti-Soul Dice is like a retrain of, hold on, Roll of Faith. That's what it is. It's a retrain one. Because I don't believe that I even have this card in my deck or in my collection. So I made a custom one for this one. It allows you to roll dice, but instead of you drawing cards, like this one, it's both players draw cards equal to the roll of they also have to. Yeah. But if this card is in your graveyard or battle zone, you can shuffle this card into the deck. Both players lose 2,000 life points. If you do, then you draw 3 cards from the top of your deck. So no matter if it was a 6, you draw 6 cards. You discard like 6 cards. Once you activate the graveyard effect, you add 3 cards. Yeah, so now the trap cards. Yeah, each one is pretty basic. So even I had to generate enough effects to add. So this one, the Cobinder, is a counter trap, and this is your instant win. I'll just say that. Reason why is because once it's activated, if you have 5 or more trap cards or more cards in your hand or graveyard, you can shuffle them into the deck. Your opponent loses 1,000 damage to the opponent's life points, of course. Just to clarify, for each card from your deck by this effect. If your opponent activates a card effect while this card is in your graveyard or battle zone, you can shuffle this card into the deck. And then negate that card effect instead. And send it to the graveyard. If it does, skip your opponent's draw phase until the next 4 turns are up. So basically, yeah. Because this card, if you had like 20 cards in your graveyard and 20 cards in your opponent's graveyard, you basically have 4, 0, 0, 0. 1, 10, 100,000, million, trillion. 4 trillion damage. I'm trying to think of how much that would be. Here, yeah, this much. 1, 10, 100,000, million. Yeah, 4 million damage to your opponent. Yeah, reason why that card's so broken is because of, yeah. And it's a hard once per turn. So the eye on the island. This card is basically not as busted as the other trap card, but this one allows you to basically, if this card can only be activated if your opponent activates a card effect, you can assign 1 card from your graveyard to your hand, negate that card effect instead. If it does, then inflict 1,000 damage to your opponent's life point. If this card is sent to the grave, or battle zone, you can shuffle this card into the deck instead. You can add 1 anti-soul card from anywhere except this card to your hand. If it does, then rest of your opponent's next turn, they cannot activate any other card effects until the end of his turn. Yeah, so, and then a trap card, this one, and the Soul Slime Spirit allows you to basically, I had this generated, the effect part, it was generated, but I cleaned up some of the card text. If this, or when your opponent activates a card effect, or effect that would banish a card from your graveyard or remove from the field from play, you can activate this card turn, negate the activation of that card or effect, and if you do, destroy it, then apply and add this. Banish 3 the top cards of your opponent's deck face down. During the end phase, your opponent must shuffle their banished cards into the deck. If they if they cannot, they take 1,000 damage for each card from that should have been shuffled into the owner's deck. If this card is in your graveyard, you can shovel this card into the deck, special summon 2 anti-souls monsters from anywhere from anywhere to your field in attack mode, but their attack points become double the attack point. So, the last trap card that I made yesterday, and this one is when your opponent activates a card effect that would destroy a monster or monsters that you control, you can activate this card from your hand or graveyard or field. Special summon 1 anti-soul monster from anywhere or from your graveyard in the face-up defense mode. If it does, or if you do, negate that activation of your opponent's card effect and destroy it. During the end phase of this turn, banish the summoned monster. If you have this trap card in your graveyard, you can banish this card from your graveyard instead of and during the end phase. If this card is in your banner zone, you can shovel this card into your deck. Add 3 spell/trap cards from anywhere except this card to your hand. That's pretty broken, isn't it? Yeah. So, yeah, it's basically a generator. So you have like this one and this one. Both of these two have card effects that can, and the instant win in this archetype is this card. Because once you activate this card, you had 30 cards in your graveyard and 10 cards in your opponent's deck. Then you can activate this card, earn, or if you had 30 cards, shovel them. You can say bye-bye to your opponent. Because, yeah, it's pretty powerful. Not as powerful as the graveyard one. If you had like 30 cards and your opponent had 10 cards, And yeah. And if you had him out, that would have been like, let's do our math, shall we? Don't need that one. This one. So 500 times 40 plus 2,500 and but if you had like a horn of a unicorn plus 7,000 or like plus the necklace, you would have probably had that much attack points on your monster. And you can attack, make your opponent lose life points. The entire archetype, this archetype, mostly focuses around dealing damage and swarming and drawing because of that spell card. And plus, you can activate like certain trap turn. Like this one, you just need like 30 cards in your graveyard. You can. That's why this spell card helps it as well. Yeah. Because once you activate like this card, it's all over for your opponent. Yeah. Basically, your opponent is now in a grave. If these cards were printed in real life, they would have had to ban Anti-Soul Cobinder because I know you have to set it first and then activate it, and plus it has a hard once per turn on it, so on all of their effects, so basically it's not that broken. But once you activate the first effect, you would be like screaming, like, no, 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 no. Your opponent would be screaming that. Okay? Because this archetype is broken. It has to be broken for the... And if you guys want me to use... Because I know that I made a poll on YouTube. Go check it out. I made a poll that which archetype would you choose? That you would like more? And you guys chose the Darkness Blades archetype. And it's more focused on bringing a certain monsters out. Like you can summon her, summon the student after tributing her, then tribute him, or the student to bring out the master girl. Then this one, or if you want to go down that route, she becomes a wife to the theme. And then the dragon becomes a father, or it's basically, and there was a fusion monster for it. Or actually, there's two. This is a second one. Yeah. It's crazy. The first one that I reviewed that you saw, the Andy Souls, are crazy by themselves. But this archetype, if you combine that archetype with this one, man, it will go haywire. I haven't tested it, but so, like, just imagine having to use fusion. There's a spell card called fusion, like Parsmation, to summon them. And yeah. Plus each one of them is crazy by themselves. Like, one is summons, this is a special summoned one by, like, Monster Reborn. It does nothing. And you could go into, like, the wife thing. And if this card inflicts battle damage to your opponent's home point, you can select 2 cards from your deck or hand to be sent to the graveyard. Makes this card attack again. If it does, or if this card is sent to the grave, you can shuffle this card into the deck, add 1. Yeah, it's basically like a upgraded version to this one. But once she is sent to the grave, you can add equip cards to it. Yeah. So, yeah. And trap cards are supposed to be super strong. And, like, yeah. So if you guys want me to duel, him, I'll be happy to do it. Because he needs to duel against me. I already dueled him once and I lost twice. So, against when I was using my Seal of Darkness archetype. Yes. Yes. But if you guys want me to duel him again, or using the Darkness Blade archetype, because each one of them is a stronger than the yeah. So go over to his, like, channel and just say, hey, we want to see the replay of post on YouTube thing, because he needs to post that gameplay on to YouTube. Okay? So, because I don't know if he has when he was dueling me, I don't know where he posted it. So, Yeah. So, who would win? My Darkness Blade versus his Seal of Darkness. Not now. Or the Seal of Alicalcos archetype. And yeah. Hit the thumbs up if you like, or if you want my archetype wins, or the, if you hit comment on, like, do hashtag he is a lot better than me, like 4-time Yu-Gi-Oh is better than me. Put that in and then write your comment below underneath it of reason why you do it. Okay? Because I have seen his archetype, like his deck thing. So that's why I created this one to counteract it. Like 2 of these cards that can grab, like, oh, I'm gonna grab your Zapdos, or no, not Zapdos. Here it is. This one, it basically allows, or its effects basically allows you to summon the, yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah. So sorry if, hold on, 1 second. The thing is, this is the end. So, bye.